and welcome back to this week's episode of Zone 623. I'm your host, Dylan McCoughtry, and I have two special people with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
What's up? My name's Azure Robichaud.
What's up? I'm Dylan Hendricks.
It's been a minute for you, huh?
A little while, man. Good to be back.
Good to be back. How have you been today, Azure?
I've been good, just been chilling. Same old.
Yeah. So, we had a couple things happen within this week.
Oh, yeah.
The trade deadline was last Thursday. So, I think we should go ahead and discuss the winners and losers of that. Dylan, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. I feel like Minnesota Timberwolves, they won this trade with getting D'Angelo Russell. Currently, they're 14th in the West, so second to last. With the roster that they had, they should have been winning games. It's just Andrew Wiggins, they had problems with him. They couldn't hold him accountable for the way he was playing. They didn't have a true point guard on that roster. But I feel like getting D'Angelo Russell, who's averaging 23 points per game and really proved that he can be a leader in Brooklyn, really helps them step up as a contender for next season.
I agree with you. I have them as one of my winners too.
I also as a winner.
Yeah, I think D'Lo's going to bring a lot. They are bottom of the conference, so they're probably going to luck into a good pick, to help build around it. But they're really young, especially because of that 14 trade.
I just also feel like Wiggins is taking longer than normal to develop because he's been in the league a few years on. He hasn't really shown flashes of what was projected of him when he was drafted.
This is my problem with this, right? So D'Angelo Russell and Andrew Wiggins, they're about the same age. But, yeah, D'Lo has just started to develop really in these past, 2 years, right? Last year in Brooklyn, people recognized that, oh, wow, And Andrew Wiggins, he has spurts. But you got to realize that you've drafted these kids straight out of high school almost. They got 1 year. So this is whenever they should be playing, the 21, 22, 23, that's whenever you really see. Andrew Wiggins has had it in his ear that he's a bust since at least the past 4 years, or so. So I think that messed with his confidence, whereas D'Lo took it as a challenge, I feel.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Andrew's going to deal at Golden State, but I do like the move with D'Lo, and it seems like they just got really, really young. They got Malik Beasley, Hernan Gomez, Vanderbilt, and Evan Turner. He's not that young, but
he's not that young, but he's a good player. And they also got
locker room presence.
They also got James Johnson in that deal too, and he's a pretty good veteran power forward.
James Johnson was from the Heat, right?
Yeah, he played for Memphis this past season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but yeah, getting him on that roster, that's going to be a good 4 spot. Plus, they already have Cat at the 5, and then you got a young Jarrett Culver playing the 3.
Yeah,
he's really good. So
they did lose some defense though. They did lose defense with Robert Covington. This roster now with D'Lo, Cat, and if they would have got to keep Covington, that's a threat.
That would have been a pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all feel about this, but also on the flip side, I feel like the Warriors came out good too.
I don't. Not at all.
You got to think about it this way, right? So Golden State, they lost KD. They really haven't had a true 3-player all season. They're playing what they're going to have Clay and D'Lo playing a guard position with moving Clay to the 3.
The 3, right.
So now you can move Clay back to the 2, Steph at the 1, and then you got Andrew Wiggins on the wing. And then on top of that, they have that winning culture where they just win they're the worst in the league right now, but you're missing your 2 best players on the team. But so if you put them 2 back in the roster with a healthy Andrew Wiggins who's actually going to listen to them, I feel like that's filling the wing position. It could be really good.
Yeah, but Wiggins, I feel like, so we saw this happen with New Orleans now. Whenever Brandon Ingram got the ball in his hand, we realized how good Brandon Ingram is.
Yes.
But whenever he was playing that catch-and-shoot role with LeBron and everybody, he wasn't that great. I feel like Andrew might be the same thing, where he needs the ball. So in the Warriors, if you're not Kevin Durant, you need to be a spot-up shooter at the least. And I don't really think that's him. But he could turn into that. I mean, they're not going anywhere this season, so they're not really competitive. He could take that time to master catching and shooting.
Yeah, and he's not a terrible shooter. He's a decent shooter. It's just he's not a Stephen Clay.
He's a pull-up shooter.
Yeah.
Is that all you have for Memphis? I mean, not Memphis. Minnesota?
Yeah.
Who do you got for your winner?
I think another one, I would say the Heat adding Iggy and dealing Winslow. I think with this trade, they get more defensive with Iggy, and they ship out Justice Winslow to the Grizzlies, which honestly works for both teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had them as the number one winner for sure.
Yeah,
That
Iggy,
was like my
that
number
was
two on my
that was
list.
I would consider that almost a steal for what they gave up for Iggy. Like,
Yeah. And see, what the Heat have been like praised for this season, even before the trade, was how much room they have cleared for money wise. With the trades that they did, they cleared up $42 million worth of salary.
so they have this roster they have this season, and then they're gonna go into free agency with like 40 million cap. You could bring in a legitimate star to help that roster with that much.
Yeah. Who do you think they should be targeting? I mean, they got needs at the 3, the 2, the 1. Maybe a center? No, because they got Bam.
They got Bam. Like, I say power forward.
Power forward would be.
I say either power forward or point guard, because if you really watch the Heat games, they've been having Jimmy Butler bring the ball down court most of the games, which he can do it, but he's not a point guard.
Yeah, and they got Kendrick Nunn, but he seems more like that.
Jimmy Butler is more of a shooting guard, if anything. He's more of a
He
shooting
is a shooting guard. He's just been playing the 3 for so long because of that defense that he brings. But now they got Iggy could play the 4.
Or the th-
You know,
he
in a
could play the
small
3.
ball.
He could play the 3 too.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
You could put him there, and Tyler can play the 2, Jimmy at the 3.
And then Bam.
I agree. They got Chris Nunn. No, not Chris Nunn. What's their rookie that was undrafted? I can't even think of his
Kendrick.
name right now.
No, it was Tyler. No, not Harrow.
I can't
Kendrick
think of him.
Nunn. That's who it
It is
is.
Kendrick Nunn?
It was Nunn. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
The guy who's been doing really good.
Yeah.
That's Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, he's been doing good. He's a point guard, isn't he?
He's like a shooting guard, but
But he could play.
Yeah,
anyway.
he's a small shooting guard as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But and then on top of that, Miami also got rid of who was it? Dion Waiters.
Oh, that's
yeah.
And he was
I feel like that was a
liability.
He just had his first minutes with the team.
because he was suspended
I
for
feel,
drugs.
I feel like
so-
he had a big contract too. So getting Dion Waiters out of Miami
Yeah.
also definitely helped with their cap
He was
situation.
one of those guys that it was like if he was on, you definitely want him, but he got more time off
Yeah.
than on.
Yeah, he hasn't really played that much this season.
I also think Atlanta won.
That's who I have.
Oh.
My 3 is Atlanta.
They got Clint Capella and Dwayne Dedman. That's 2 big guys that can play. I mean, if you really look at that roster, that's what Trae Young's missing.
Yeah,
He's
and now he got somebody where he could just lob it up to. And
is
this
fun.
really helps John Henson because now John Henson doesn't have to play that 5 anymore. And he can stretch the floor. John Henson's really good at stretching the floor.
Yeah. And then my last one that I had as a winner was Cleveland.
Cleveland? Yeah.
Andre Drummond.
I
You got to
mean,
think about
They're
it.
not going anywhere with it, though.
I mean, yeah, they got
Season.
a decent, they got a big man in Andre Drummond, but they still need more pieces. But it's a good start.
You got to
someone
think
like
about it. You
Drummond.
lost Kyrie, then you lost LeBron,
And then you still got Kevin
automatically-
Love, but that's about it.
and he just came back this season.
Exactly.
So,
So,
I mean,
Man's
bringing in
hurt.
Andre Drummond is going to relieve a little bit of the rebounding from Kevin Love, who can hopefully open up some scoring opportunities for him. Plus, bringing in a big man like that's going to help Colin Sexton. So like, I feel like they're just a younger team, but bringing in a veteran guy like Andre Drummond could help them.
All right. So, on that note, we're going to switch over to losers. And I'm going to say my first loser is Andre Drummond. The Pistons have put him in a spot where he either has to opt into this contract to get his $28 million contract or decline it and not make that money. But also, if he opts into the contract, then he has to compete with the really good free agents that are coming up next summer.
Yeah.
So I really think he lost it because nobody's going to want to stay in Cleveland. I don't think.
I think Drummond's gonna finish out the season in Cleveland. Yeah, but I think he's gonna go for free agency at the end of the season.
You think he's going to decline?
I think he's gonna.
He's losing money either way.
I don't think so. I think he's going to opt in.
I think he's going to opt
You think
in
he's
just
gonna
to get
opt
that
in with
money.
the Cavs?
He's going to get the money. He's been playing for Detroit for how long and losing?
Yeah. So
yeah.
he's going to opt in, but he's not going to get a good contract. He's going to lose money either way, but at least he knows he has $28 million guaranteed right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he is losing because either way he's losing money. I would consider that a loser.
Yeah.
So my number 2 loser, y'all gonna laugh at me, but I think it's the Los Angeles Lakers. The reason they're losers is because they let the guy they wanted go to the people that are living in the basement right now, the Los Angeles Clippers. They were trying to make a deal with for Morris with New York,
And then the Clippers.
but they wouldn't do it because the Knicks wanted Kuzma. And I get it, Kuzma's a great player, but he's still developing. Whenever you have LeBron on your team, you don't have room to develop. That's why they went out and traded all those players for Anthony Davis. If you're going to be in win-now mentality, you got to be all in on win-now. Marc Marcus Morris would have helped the Lakers way more than what I think Kuzma's helping them right now.
Yeah.
But I think the Clippers definitely want to trade.
Yeah, they want to because now they're like got a core of tough guys. But I think the Lakers are the losers here, and that's.
I got another loser. The Pelicans, they could have dealt Etwan Moore because he's just some of the guys in that roster are just dead cap space. Like Etwan Moore and Frank Jackson, you could easily deal because they have barely gotten minutes this season. I don't think they barely played this season.
Yeah, but
I say yeah and no. We could have made moves, but at the same time, we're not really we're trying to make the playoffs, but we're not pushing for it. We can get a good pick.
Yeah, and if they were to make moves, I think you deal Drew Holiday and Derek Favors to the Pistons for Andre Drummond. I think that would have been the move to make.
Drew,
yeah.
Drummond over Favors that would have been a good move.
Well, yeah, Favors is a power forward, and he's been playing 5.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been so much more relief. You could have got lineups where Jackson Hayes plays the 4, or Andre plays the 5.
Why don't they just put? I don't get why they're not using Jackson at center.
Because he's just a developing player still. He was recently mad because he felt like he was snubbed for the Rising Stars Challenge game. But what does he do? He does amazing things, but he doesn't do
I feel like
amazing
he's
things
just worried
every
about the
night.
wrong things.
Yeah.
And then my loser, I put the Houston Rockets.
Definitely Houston Rockets.
They lose Clint Capella. If you watched the game the other night, James Harden jump ball.
Yeah.
It was James Harden on who was
You're talking about a game last Thursday for the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was James Harden and
And it was crazy though, because the thing that was the argument I'd like to make is, what are they going to do? They're in the Western Conference. You got teams that are going to play PG Tucker on Cat or on AD. The Lakers in general, because they got 3 big guys. What's PJ Tucker going to do against those guys? But they showed, last week that they can hold it. I really think that was poor game management towards the end was what the Lakers.
Don't get me wrong, they got a big man in it, but they got Jordan Bell. But Jordan Bell,
I think they traded him.
What is he?
I think they got him and traded him.
But regardless, what has he done in his career? He's won a championship, but anyone can win a championship.
Yeah, so did JaVale McGee with that team.
If you're playing with the Warriors.
They got Tyson Chandler, who's freaking, he's old. He's kind of washed up.
He's 30.
But he could still help.
And they got Robert Covington in the deal too. He's a really good player. He averages 12 a game, and he has really good defense. So what they're looking at was a 3-and-D player. But we've seen this before with Trevor Ariza.
Yeah.
His contract ended. What he did, he walked out of Houston. Because it is hard to be a 3-and-D player. You're wanting the ball, you're wanting to shoot the ball, and you can't shoot it playing with James Harden.
I think it's hard to be a 3-and-D player on this team.
Yeah.
Because you're putting so much effort into defense because you got to cover for James Harden and Russ. You got to cover for them. And now Robert Covington, what people fail to realize, he's a small forward. And yeah, he can guard 1 through 5, but should he have to guard 1 through 5 every night? No, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
So I think it's
now
it's
PJ Tucker becomes that man now that has to guard all the.
I'm gonna say it. I don't think the Rockets are gonna be a playoff team in the next couple of years, and they're always gonna be a first round exit if they are.
Yeah.
You have Harden and Russ, but they have no other foundation besides that because
they're going to be great for stats all season long.
Yeah, but when it comes,
round exit.
That's typically what happens with the Rockets.
I think they were trying to look at what the Warriors did with a small ball lineup with Draymond playing the 5, but PJ Tucker is a good defender, but he's not a Draymond defender. Draymond's not even a Draymond defender anymore. I don't know. I think it was a very questionable move. Do you have any other losers? Because those are all of mine.
I got no more.
Okay, that's all yours too?
That's all mine too.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic. Next topic we had,
the All-Star game.
The All-Star game.
The draft has happened.
Yeah, so the lineups came out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the draft happened, and so now we know who each team has. So I'm going to ask a simple question. Who do y'all think's winning?
Team LeBron.
Team LeBron, what you got?
Giannis.
Team Giannis. I'm going Team LeBron.
LeBron has a bunch of he has a bunch of good starters, but Giannis focused on that big man. He focused on that big man.
Yeah, he got Rudy and Bam. but starter-wise, it's like...
Starter-wise, don't get me wrong. Starter-wise,
and that's going to be the difference.
LeBron hit it out the park.
Those starters are who's going to be mainly playing those. So, I mean...
One thing I do give Giannis, though, is if you look at the players that he picks players that all play together. Mm-hmm. So, he picked, like, Bam and Jimmy Butler. And then he picked him and Chris Middleton. He picked, who else is it? Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry. So he was picking teammates of each other.
He got chemistry.
So, yeah, he's got chemistry.
Bron has that, too.
But, yeah, if you look at...
Bron has him and AD.
I think they have another duo on there. I don't have the roster.
And then if you look at it, Bron, he's got James Harden, who averages, 35 a game. Yeah. And then he's got Luka Doncic, who's averaging, 30 also. And then he's also got Damian Lillard, who's averaged 50 in the past 10 games.
I like his pickups of Kawhi and AD.
Ooh.
Yeah. Starter's going to win this because not only offensively on Bron's team, but defensively against Giannis's team. The only unstoppable guy I see on Giannis's team is himself.
Yeah, I feel like Giannis tried focusing too much on the paint.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually watch pick after pick, he was picking big men first.
Yeah, and it's like, look at how. So Giannis is there because of his team's success. You know, he probably wouldn't be the leading vote getter if his team was doing bad. Look at how your team is built that makes you successful. It's you crashing and a bunch of shooters. You can't focus on the paint whenever you can only score in the paint.
Yeah.
That's what the Sixers are having trouble with.
Because they have no shooters.
Yeah. Well, now they got two, but...
shooters.
Sure.
And if you actually broke down the All-Star game, if you look at it, basically it's East versus West, except for Rudy Gobert switched to the East, and Brandon Ingram switched, and Donovan Mitchell switched to the East.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram was...
He's West. He's from Pelicans.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in draft-wise, I think he got picked on Team Giannis.
Yeah, he's Team Giannis. Giannis called him Kevin Durant.
Oh, my God.
I see it. I see the comparisons, especially this year.
Both tall, skinny, can score.
Yeah. I think something that we got to take into account, though, is how the game is now, where it's three mini games and then one game to 24, basically. So we got to take that into account. But I don't know. I just don't see it. Not even putting that into account.
This affecting it. Yeah, the format has nothing. The format's gonna have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's still an All-Star game.
Yeah.
The only thing's different is what point you finish with.
Honestly, All-Star game is just for a night to for them to be crazy and do.
Used to be. Now it's competitive.
But it used to be crazy things.
It was already laying down.
It was their day to not take anything seriously because it's
Well, you don't want to be too serious because it is just a recreation game.
Yeah, in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Smack dab in a halfway point of the season.
So me and Dylan agree, Team Bron, and you're a Team Giannis still. So
yeah.
The last and final topic that we're going to talk about today is the Atlanta Dream allowing Angel McCoughtry to test free agency. What are y'all opinions on this?
I feel like, all right, if you actually look at her history, right, she's the number one pick in the 2009 draft. She's been in the league a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been to the finals twice, which, that's good. And she's put up games where she's put up 40, 50 points. And then last season, she had at the end of the season, she tore her ACL. So she's been out this whole season. She still can't play. And so she's getting frustrated with how her team is going right now. They've been losing a bunch of games, so that's why she made a comment whenever she's leaving the arena about how she's frustrated about that. That's why they're going to let her test free agency. I feel like they're already losing. They have no chance to make it back into it. They're probably going to get a good pick in the draft due to this, and she's been in the league since 2009. Let her test the free agency.
I could agree with what he said there. She wants to go ahead and test free agency, then let her do it. She's been with one team for 10 years.
So whenever I was looking at this, I tried to think of it in the context of, they want her to test free agency because they just had an increase in salary. Maybe they're going to work a new deal where she can get paid more. But then you start looking at the research. Over this offseason, she's turned 33 years old. She's recovering from a very gruesome knee injury. And even though she's averaged nearly 20 points since 2010, she averaged 16 points last season that she played the full season. So I kind of think of it as they're going to try to start rebuilding. I think they're going to let her go.
Yeah.
I think
so you're seeing
decline. I think she's declining. I think that initially looking at it, you would think, oh, they want her to work a new deal. They're letting her test free agency just so they can bring her back. But really looking at it, it's like, no, like, I think they're moving on from this era, really, because that's what it is. She's been great for them. You know, it's just
might be time. It might
it
be time to
happens,
start.
you know, she's getting
rebuilding.
older, 33. You know,
33 is when a lot of players start to, like, you know,
yeah, and especially somebody recovering from an injury.
ACL to be that.
Not to put
ACL
your business out there, but you're our athlete here, and you've dealt with knee injuries too, and you know the effect that it can take on movement. And you're a young person, so imagine being 33 years old, having all those miles, and then that knee just blowing up.
I'm 22 right now, and I just made a year not long ago from my last one, and
Which number was that?
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, just me trying to play again, it's like it's not the same. I can't move the same. I can't cut the same. If I sit down, I'm not getting back up to play again. I have to keep going. So I mean, could you imagine someone that's 33 trying to come back after that?
Yeah.
Like, imagine them checking out the game, then trying to come back in, and they just can't move right again. You know,
I don't
and it
think
happens. She can't play a straight game, start to finish.
Yeah, because you have to take a break. You're playing 48 minutes, or however many minutes they play in the WNBA.
She gets a lot of minutes.
But yeah, I don't think this is good for her though. So I think the best thing was for her to stay. You know, stay humble.
I mean, look at Zion had a simple surgery, he had meniscus, which I mean,
He's 19.
He's 19, and look how long it took him to come back.
About half
the season.
Half the season. So
and
it's
he
like
was still in minute restrictions.
2-3 months. Yeah.
So I don't think this free agency is good. Because like I said, my initial thought is, oh, they're gonna try to get her more money, but I think she's gonna get less.
Yeah, she's gonna get less for sure.
Oh, yeah.
She's coming off of surgery and she has nothing to prove right
And
now.
she's 33, and typically most teams wouldn't throw big money at an aging player.
Not smart teams. I mean, you look at the Nets a couple of years ago
on
the NBA side, giving KG and Paul Pierce
yeah,
good
when they
deals.
were all like in their mid 30s, trying to think they could still compete.
But yeah, that's all I have.
Well, I have it today too.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next week on Zone 623.